Remember, this show is PG-13, so you might hear a naughty word or two. Norbert's is having a sale on mounting blocks, because who wants to buy a whole board when you can just have a mounting block? Go to norberts.com for 10% discount on anything with the code GymCastic, and it's trade show deal season. So you pre-order the booth display items for the best deals at GAT, Region 1, Region 5, plus at Congress in August. Norbert's is also giving away a $50 Norbert's gift card that can be used in anything in their online store. No minimum. Just follow Norbert's Athletic on Instagram and comment on the giveaway post. Good luck. Today, we had our first ever mixed pairs meet officially at the European Championships, which you think is what the format's going to be for the LA Olympics. And we have so many thoughts on it. Manila Esposito is European all-around champ again, and France is back. Plus, Mary Lou Retton got in trouble over the holiday. We will tell you all about it. It's June 3rd. 2025. Happy Pride and welcome to the number one gymnastics podcast in the galaxy. I'm Jessica and I'm here with Spencer from the Balance Beam Situation. Okay, can we start with the most important news that...
I mean, that's usually a good idea, but I don't know what the most important thing is, so I'm looking forward to you telling me.
Thank you. Milad Karimi. You know Milad Karimi?
Yeah.
Milad, yes. Anywho, he is at the Asian Championships and he posted a video of Mahdi Olfati from Iran. We've talked about him before because he has the highest, insane vaults, like insane. So he is at these championships. He posted a video of Olfati doing a Yurchenko full in. That's a Simone vault tucked with a full twist on the first double back. A Yurchenko double back.
Translating it into women's, yeah.
Yes, with a full twist on the first one. You guys, it's not scary. It's not scary at all.
He completes it like too easily.
He over-rotated it. And not to mention, everyone in the arena is either videotaping him or watching it. It's so beyond comprehensible. It's so exciting. And remember, like we've talked about this, he was in the vault finals at the Olympics. And he's just incredible. Like it's amazing. So I'm just like, I can't talk enough about that. I also have a lot of feelings about why Iran is allowed to compete with the women's non-right situation in Iran. But I also don't want to punish athletes for their horrible regimes that run their countries, because here we are. Mary Lou Retton was arrested for a DUI in West Virginia. The news reports said that she was driving erratically in a Porsche. So someone called the police. She was pulled over. According to the report, she was slurring her words and then refused to take the blood alcohol test. Was arrested, released on bail, and then there's released because it's only a misdemeanor. And then the thing is, there's a new report that she is missing, that her home is abandoned in Texas. Of course, there's no comment from any family on this, but yeah, that's, as of this recording, that is the report. I thought it was interesting that she refused to take the DUI test on the scene.
Yeah. You talked about that on behind the scenes. I don't know, but it's just an overall very sad situation.
It is really, really sad.
And it's like, it's the kind of thing there's never an excuse for, and this is, what the report says, arrested for DUI. So I guess it's still, we say alleged DUI.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But there's never an excuse for that, but she's also had so many sad things happening in her life that it's just, a very sad situation.
Yeah. What this prompted me to do was look up the DUI laws.
Of course.
Because I feel like, because it's such a huge problem. And I was like, how is this a misdemeanor? But it's a misdemeanor here too. It just carries, I think, bigger consequences.
California.
Here being California.
Yeah.
Yes. And I would like to see any drunk driving that is proven, obviously, not just alleged, be like, I don't know, 30 days in jail instantly. I feel like if you have one drink, you should not drive at all. So, but yeah, this is also, in addition to that, it's also very, very, very sad. I want to talk about the biggest stories from European Championships in Leipzig, which was
Mm.
actually Turnfest, which was a huge meet that involved lots of adult gymnastics, and a team from the US went and competed, and they also had mixed pairs competition. And it's like a giant festival, like in a stadium, like huge event, because gymnastics is done for health and wellness in
What?
Germany. I know. Not just you don't just ask every little kid, "So, are you gonna make it to the Olympics?" No. You're like, "Oh, you're 30 and you're competing in a gymnastics meet? That's great. Like, this is normal there. We need to normalize adult gymnastics," which is why I love adult gymnastics camp, and we always talk about it. So, the first thing I obviously want to talk about is not gonna shock
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
Spencer. The grown-ass women
Sure.
dominating
Yes.
this meet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, it is European Championships. They know how to do gymnasts in their 30s.
yeah. Um, one of the coolest stories was Denisa Golgota from Romania.
Mhm.
She is 23 now and came back after 5 years off
Yeah.
to place 7th all around.
More than because she had competed last in 2019.
Was that I thought oh, but 2020, I feel like she announced her retirement, but yeah, I mean, 6
Yeah, in
years
2020, there
competing.
wasn't a lot of gymnastics going
That's
on, but
true.
yeah.
There was that. Yeah, and after only 6 months, and she looks great. She
Great.
looks
Yeah.
great. Like, by, world championships, like, look out. She should be, in the top in a final. She
And I loved
fell.
her presentation, her artistry on
Yes.
beam. I was like, "This is why.
Yes.
You
This is why
spend
we
some
love
time, you get comfortable, you're happy performing, hopefully. You're doing artistry."
this is why we love grown ass women staying in the sport, because that there's just like it's just so nice to do the sport at different ages and be able to enjoy it from different perspectives in your body. I know that sounds so like in your body, ugh. Like if my mom said
Yeah,
that, I'd
I
be like,
know, it
"Ugh,
was vomit.
disgusting." Ugh. But it's like true that there are different things that you are can be better at different ages, and power is one of the and performance is one of the things like you mentioned that we love seeing.
We had a lot of Jessica's favorites in the grown-ass women category. Barbara Mokoshova, 28. Elsa Hertz, 30.
The
She's
doctor.
Dr. Hertz? Is she
Yep.
Dr. Hertz now?
Oh, I feel like, when you're a doctor, like a doctor, but then it takes like 10 more years to
Yeah.
be a
It's like
doctor's allowed to not have a hover over your shoulder. So, but yeah, I think she's a doctor. She has a white coat. I think she's done a white coat.
that's all we need. That's a white
Yeah,
coat, right?
that's a doctor.
That's confirmed.
Yeah.
Tjasa Kislev of Slovenia is 32. Nina Derwal is back, two event gold medals, is 25. Teja Belak of Slovenia, 31. Marta Pihenkoleja, 37, of the Queen of Floor. Tisha Volaman was here, 25. It's like, if you weren't 25,
Nuts.
it's like, why don't you retire and have a couple kids and then call us later
And
and
then
see
come
whether
back.
you can do gymnastics? Yeah.
Right. It made me very, very happy. Okay, so I want to talk about the theme of the meet for me,
Okay.
obviously, besides grown ass women,
Mhm.
was redemption. These are the biggest
Okay.
stories. Starting with, no surprise, Manila Esposito, all around champion
Yeah.
again.
Fantastic performance. I'm curious what her redemption was, but it was fantastic.
Just that she wasn't champion last year. Now she is.
Yeah, she won. This is
Was
back
it
to
last
back.
year? I thought it
This
was
is back to back
2023.
all arounds.
Okay. Redemption after okay, it's redemption after I thought there was a year in between. It's redemption after Paris, which was great, but the
Redemption from
floor
her 2
final,
Olympic medals.
the floor final,
Yeah,
the
you got
floor
there.
final wasn't
Sure,
her
yeah.
best.
You
Yes.
got there.
So that's yes,
Yeah,
even
that's
though it
anyway.
was historic and incredible for her.
Fantastic
Also
performance. Would you like to talk about her beam? Because I know it's the only thing you like to talk about in the world. And she hit a
okay,
really good one in the all-around final to
so good. And
help her
like
win the title.
from the beginning of time, I have been like, do you see this woman doing a real mount like your grandmother did in the 80s? Yes, that's right. A layout on a whole series, 3
Mhm,
series with another layout out of a actual beam mount. Is it a layout or a back handspring on? Either way, I think it's a layout. It's
mhm.
amazing and incredible, and I this is what we wanna see, and also she has it she this is always my favorite part, talk about her beam, how she does disco roll into her wolf turn position. We need more disco rolls in
Do we?
We do,
I mean,
Spencer.
I feel like disco roll is something that should be used sparingly.
Okay, I don't want
It's
it to be like
it's like the sriracha of gymnastics. Like just a little bit is enough in the right context, but you don't need to go crazy with it. Now
rooster
everyone's gonna
sauce.
be like, "Oh, Spencer, you don't understand.
Toasted sriracha goes on
Your like
everything.
white your Wonder Bread palate is like, yeah,
It's too spicy.
I'm too
Um,
scared."
yeah, she is the example of artistry, flexibility, power, execution, hitting your splits, and form in the air. Like she is the perfect package of what a gymnast is supposed to be to me. Ah, love her. Love her.
Yes, fantastic. She and Anna Barbosu tied for the women's medal championship. 4 medals
Yes.
apiece. So
Which is
Esposito had 2 golds and Barbosu had 1, but Esposito 2 of her 4 medals were team medals and Barbosu all were individual. So who really won the medal count. These are the
right.
important things. Now Jessica will say, they tied and ties are beautiful and they're both perfect and I would say I would like a single winner please.
Just like how there are 9 people in the bar final, which is how it should be because ties are excellent. But speaking of redemption, which is my theme, even though Manila Esposito won last year at Euros
Mhm.
and was excellent at in Paris and
She
won all the medals,
redeemed
floor.
ideal gymnastics of a previous era. That's what she
Yes.
redeemed. She
Thank
brought us
you.
back.
Thank you for saving my segment title.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
It made perfect sense.
The theme of this podcast today is going to be the mixed team finals, and so we are exemplifying how that works here with
The
how we are
teamwork.
complimenting each other's work. Yes, or Spencer cleans up
Yeah.
after me when I make a mistake. Um, so speaking of redemption, Team France, third
Mhm.
place, bronze medal.
I understand the redemption in this one because they had unfortunate qualification performance at the Olympics with extenuating circumstances involved.
Yes, with a horrible accident that happened in the training hall beforehand that affected them the entire time. This was just they are this team and they have been this team and it was so good to see them put it together and they do such beautiful gymnastics and they're also another grown ass women
Mhm.
team. So happy for them.
Bronze
And
medal
also
in the team competition. And I felt like they had no individual medals, so the only French medal for the women was bronze in the team. And but I felt like that kind of undersold the quality of their performance because there were really, really nice moments throughout. From Morgana Sisek, Laurette Sharpie was back and had a great meet. So
yes. Remember Laurette Sharpie? She had she basically came out before the Olympics and was like, "I'm not doing this anymore because I refuse to be treated this way." And but she was at the Olympics supporting her team, and it's so nice to see her find her way back in a way that works for her and is positive and healthy for her to do gymnastics. I want to mention that if you're a visual listener, the photos that we're sharing are from Filippo Tomasi of Italy. So I want to thank him and give him credit for the photos because we are so grateful for his work. Um, third redemption arc of this
yeah.
meet. Barbosu floor gold medal.
Hmm.
And this made me so very, very happy because after the bronze floor debacle and the questions about, who the
Hmm.
medal really should have gone to, which it should have actually been Vonya, who had a terrible meet here. But it is redemption for exactly where she should be. And I love this too because this is, Jordan Childs, who had the medal on the podium, and we got that great moment with Simone and Jordan both bowing down to Andrade, which is the correct order of the world. And I love that moment. It is I love that we got that moment, but now Jordan also got her moment being the NCAA champion, and I felt like that was redemption for her. And yeah, that just made me really happy. Let's talk about the standings actually here just for
Ooh,
1 second because we
now
just
I've
showed
perked up. Yeah,
who
so
else
we
is on
talked
there.
about Italy won the team, the women's team. Not a surprise. They didn't have an awesome meet in the team competition. So there was no team final at Euros this year, but they awarded team based on qualification. So that's a 4 up 3 count final, which I do think helped Italy because they had some mistakes. Germany, huge deal, won women's team silver. That's also, I would put that in the redemption category just because it's the team coming back from, they don't have, Ellie Seitz is not here, Kim Bui, Paulina Schaefer, Sophie Schader, Sarah Voss, all of these kind of golden generation gymnasts for Germany aren't here. And we expected more of a lull or a dip in their performance. And they were really strong here and got a team silver, France team bronze. And then the all around. We'll go into the all around more later because I want to talk about Alba Petisco a lot, basically. But yeah, it was
Yes.
Esposito gold, Alba Petisco silver, and Ana Barbosu bronze. But we can go in depth a little bit more later if we wanted to. If you need to talk about Ana Barbosu and her redemption more, because I understand.
Yes.
She
I
even
mean,
had in meet redemption because like all around final, she falls on beam, gets an 11, and you're like, oh, she's out of it. And then she comes back on floor and wins bronze. On bars, she was not in the bars final. She was a reserve, and then Helen Kevrich withdrew. And then Barbosu got into the final, and then she hit and won bronze. So she was, she's nailing it.
yep. I mentioned Vonya for a second and what happened with her at this meet. The first, I mean, it all went wrong. So this is, I'm mentioning her because in the context of Romanian team issues and the floor debacle where
Yeah.
her mom didn't put in the correct inquiry when she had the time to in Paris, and so she failed to win a medal on floor, the bronze. But I mean, it started off like she falls on her beam mount, which is
Her
a forward
forward roll.
roll.
Yeah. And then she goes and does her like all her big difficulty and hits it perfectly, of course, which is what always happens. And she's like, really a forward roll.
Yeah, she was so mad, which is why she hit all her skills after that. Angry beam.
That's what makes you a champion. If you were okay with falling on a forward roll beam mount, you would not be a champion.
That's right. Exactly. I want to pause for 1 minute before we go back to some of the headlines from this European Championships because we have a little more to talk about, especially that shameless plug.
Ooh.
Anna Barbosu, European champion, on the floor. Her choreographer and coach was our live show guest at NCAA's, and this is the last week that you can get tickets for that. We
To watch
are
the replay, yes.
to watch the replay. Yes, it already happened, but you can go back in time
Mhm.
and
And pretend it hasn't.
right, exactly. This
And
is the
learn
important
all the
thing.
tea about your favorite Romanians from the past.
So much tea. So yeah, the replay tickets still on sale. Go to gymcastic.com. If you have any problems watching it or you have your virtual ticket, you can email GymCastic. What is it? Customer service at gymcastic.com. Also, we have our next live show planned for Classic in Chicago, but don't worry, it won't be in Hoffman Estates. It will be in the city proper, in Chicago, in the city on Friday night, July 18th, with an Olympic champion coach of the United States, who is also an NCAA coach now. And it's going to be, yeah, Friday night on the 18th. So you won't miss any of Classic. Classic is all day the next day. So that's going to be really fun. Hopefully, we'll have tickets on sale for Club Gym members because you get first dibs on those tickets coming up later this week. Also, I want to invite a special guest in to read a excerpt from The Balance, My Years Coaching Simone Biles by Amy Borman and Fact Checker, because now it's on sale not just in the US, but also in Europe. Fact Checker, if you would.
While Simone is now considered one of the greatest vaulters of all time, many young gymnasts may be encouraged to know that Simone's vault score at her second state meet was a 0. She was joking around a little bit before she saluted, and on her first run, she sprinted down the runway but tried to stop herself at the last second. She threw her hands in front of her body, belly slid on the vault, but didn't actually go over the vault table. 0. Then, on her second attempt, she completely overcompensated. To make sure she got over the table, she punched the springboard like she was trying to catapult herself into the stratosphere, causing her to fly way over the apparatus without ever touching it. Another 0.
Thanks, Fact Checker. Congrats on the book.
Thank you.
The Balance My Years Coaching Simone Biles, where you can find out more about all of the things that happened with Simone when she was first learning gymnastics, like completely missing the vault, out now. And Amy reads the audio version. And if you want to get in touch for book downloads, for promotional stuff you might need, contact or go to socaljourno.com. That's Fact Checker's website. You can find out more about him, because now we're getting requests to have him on the show. Oh, you guys.
You've
I know.
created a monster.
I know. He is great,
Back
though.
in your box.
We love our fact checker. He does all the work we don't want to do. Okay. Back to European Championships,
Yeah.
mixed pairs. We will discuss this in
Mm.
depth, but first, I feel like overview, this is incredibly promising. I'm so happy about this. It's because they added strategy. Our complaints were there weren't strategy. Now there is strategy. And I have created this amazing flow chart. If you're a visual listener, it's really ugly, but you get the idea of how it works. What did you think?
Yeah, I have very mixed thoughts about it. In some respects, it exceeded expectations. My expectations were also extremely low. So there was, and I agree with you about the strategy. There were aspects that were fun. I also have like 95 corrections about it, which is sort of I guess, the motto of gymnastics in general. Like, great job, here are 95 corrections. It's the whole sport as in a nutshell. And I feel like that's also how I feel about the mixed team final. Like, great job. Here are 1,000 things I would like to change about it. But I do think there is potential that I had some fun with it. I had spreadsheet fun, and you know how that's my favorite type of fun.
It is. It is.
Because following, like, who was going to qualify, you have per country nuance, because, who's going to get the highest score among their own team to advance to the mixed final. You have that. You have what are the standings and qualification for the top 16 teams / pairs to advance to the mixed team final. I like saying pairs more, because a pair is not a team, it's a pair. And I feel like it should be the mixed pairs instead of the mixed team. I think you
I
need
don't
more than
like
two.
mixed pairs because
I
then
know,
it
because it sounds
like
coupley.
figure skating and coupley. Yeah, I don't like
Yeah,
it.
I get
Which
it.
I like it in figure skating. I don't. It makes it sound like they're actually doing gymnastics together as one, which would be better. It should literally be another sport where they actually both do
Yeah.
beam and then run over and do vault. No, gymnasts don't have the cardio for that. But yeah,
You could do a floor routine, but you can't run over to vault.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think there is potential. We'll get into some nuances later, but yeah, I think there is potential in it. It's also super weird.
I loved it so much. I can't say enough good things about it. Also because we finally had a federation who has or a union, whatever, the European Union Federation of Gymnastics, whatever they're called now.
European gymnastics.
European Gymnastics. They had the courage to fucking do something different for once, god damn it, and not just sit in the past. Like, if it sucks, it sucks, but at least you tried something. At least there's something new. So I'm so happy that this is approved for LA 28, and I hope it continues, and I hope people get really excited about it. But we'll talk about it more. The most important part of Euros is obviously international world peace. And so I want to talk about some of my favorite things, including some of the Missouri team, some of your favorites and mine, going to support Kaya when she competed for Finland. Highest finish ever for Finland in the all around.
Highest finish.
Highest finish.
Yeah, it's the highest finish.
And the all around. Yeah, for Kaya. And it was just like overall, I loved seeing their videos of like exploring Leipzig and hanging out with her, and just, this is why it's so wonderful to have, even though, Kaya's American too, but also like being able to travel the world, see things, explore, also a theme of Amy Barman's book, that people need to leave the country and experience the rest of the world. Also, you guys, Jennifer Williams got so much attention at these Euros. We've been talking about her for years. She is coming to the United States for college. And I loved seeing so many people talking about her being highlighted so many times because her gymnastics is fantastic. Her 2-foot layout mount that is pencil, no hips bent until her feet touch layout. Oh, I mean, I know you get credit as long as you don't like pike until past you're within like 45 degrees of the second half of your flip, but I I'm obsessed with her. I have been for a long time. 14.533
Mhm.
on Beam, as deserved. And if you're not already a Jennifer Williams fan, get on board because she's amazing.
Yes. Highest score. She won beam in qualification. That 14.533 was in qualification. She had a fell on in event finals, so she didn't end up with any medals from this event, but the medals of our medals, the qualification medals and the greatness medals were very encouraging. Also, kind of an advertisement for Stanford, those event finals with Anna Barbosa and Jennifer Williams competing together and be like, hey, we're cool.
Yep.
That's what
Yeah.
that's actually what they said. Like when they
Hey,
got
hey,
to
hey.
that area to get their scores, they were like, hey, we're cool. That's what they said to each other.
They're like, we're going to be engineers. They're the only ones that have jobs anymore when AI takes over everything. Choo-choo, Stanford. That's what the tree really is. Okay, let's. That's their mascot, is a tree.
Mhm.
So okay, let's talk in depth now.
I
Let's
would love to.
dive in. Okay, so the winners we talked about, Manila Esposito, Italy, 54.9. Her score to win all around, she was she was what? Almost 2 points ahead of Ana Barbosa, which Ana obviously fell on beam. So,
Mhm.
that she
Yeah,
would have been higher.
a great performance. She qualified in first place with a fall on vault because she had tried the Yurchenko double full in qualification. And everyone was like, never do that ever again. That was too scary. Just do the Yurchenko 1.5 for the rest of the competition, which she did. It's a comfortable vault for her. She was fine. Yeah. So I think it was always the case that she was going to win the all around if she hit, and she had a great meet in the all around final. So that was very triumphant. Alba Petisco, silver medal for Spain. So exciting. The reward for split positions, toe point, expressiveness, all of that is really satisfying to see. Alba Petisco medal, and she's been a senior for quite a while. These are her first like big major competition medals, and so that's really nice to see.
Yeah.
We enjoyed her
I
performance
I
tremendously.
love that Alba Petisco is getting this recognition because we've talked about her so many times and how much we love her floor and how aggressive she is. And yeah, I'm so happy about this. And I also just want to talk about the podium because I loved that they, first of all, had, a bunch of confetti, which I enjoy confetti
Mhm.
very much. And then that they gave them a framed piece of art of their win. Everyone got like this. I think it's like for the teams, like they had an image of their team in a photo or in this piece of art. It's not a photo, but like a drawing or a painting or
Mhm.
something. And I just thought that was such a cool, like it's very European to like include art. Like in where was it they got that banana sculpture thing that looked like a sheep banana Liverpool. Yeah, I just really enjoyed this very much. I
It's
also
better than
enjoy.
flowers. So much
Yes,
better. It's a big upgrade on flowers.
because flowers, they're nice in the moment, but they don't last. They're nice for photos, but this is a piece of art that you
And,
can
like,
take
what are you
home.
gonna do with them? That's my thing, and you're like, "Put them in your hotel room," and I'm like, "Ugh, that's effort."
You're supposed to give them to the person that helped you the most or you're so most grateful for.
Mm.
That is what you should do with them to show your
I
gratitude,
feel
and
like you should give them to a fan who's gonna go home at the end of this and actually have a place to put them. Like, your most vocal supporter in the stands is a great person to give the flowers to, because
I
they
love
can
that
actually,
idea.
like, go home and have a vase or something, rather than being like, "Well, I'm about to get on a plane. What do I do with these flowers?"
Or they can press them into a book and frame them so they have them
Yes.
forever with a
Into it,
photo
like, make a scrapbook of their favorite gymnastics moments and then press the flowers into the scrapbook and have it
with
as
a
a
little
coffee table item.
Mhm. These are excellent ideas for giveaways for live
We are
shows.
nothing if not a great idea factory.
We are. It's the
Is
having
that a job? Just having great ideas and then other people do them?
I
But you
think
already
we're
have to be
doing it.
rich if you already have
Yeah,
to be
oh,
rich.
doing it is
Yeah.
yeah, you do. You have to have that. Okay, vault. Karina
Yes.
Schoenmeier, also the mixed pairs champ
Mixed
in
pairs
Germany.
champion, vault champion. The most improved award for me is Karina Schoenmeier compared to she made world teams for Germany in the last quad, and was kind of there to put up some solid qualification routines. And she's like, "Oh no, I'm the star now," especially when Helen Kevrich went down with her injury in the all-around final. Then she was like, I am the star of this team. I'm going to win 2 European gold medals. Germany won 3 medals overall. 2 were Schoenmeyer's golds in the mixed team and vault. So really excellent meet for a really strong double full on vault.
And Germany won the overall medal haul at this meet,
Ooh.
which I don't know if that also includes the whole Turnfest or if that was just the actual European Championships. But I think they did win the most medals because they won mixed team. They had Schoenmeyer. They had.
I'm going to look it up right now.
Let's fact check me while we. Yeah. Nina Durwell back, which she's been back, but after that miraculous recovery from shoulder dislocation on bars, then made it back in time to compete in Paris for Belgium, won bars and beam. And her beam, this is what you want to see in a beam champ, not a wobble, not a movement, nothing. And we know she's great on beam, but this was solidified. I think like the confidence to hit no matter where, no matter when. She did it and it was great. It's not like the most beautiful beam you've ever seen in your life, but it is so solid and she has a fluidity to her beam that I really appreciate. And so, yeah, and her bars. Okay, go ahead. You looked it up.
I was going to say Nina's beam is very intelligently designed to avoid deduction, especially when she hits it that solidly. It's like, this is going to get a ridiculous E-score, which she's kind of always been known for, but it's like this, when I hit this, it's going to be like there's so little that the code will take from that routine that it's perfectly designed. So Germany won the medal count they won the most golds. Italy had the most overall medals at the competition with 8, 5 for WAG, 3 for MAG, but Germany had 3 golds, and they were the only country with 3 golds.
There you go. Yeah. I also just want to talk about Nina's bars because you can never talk about Nina's bars enough and how like it's still just so every time I see it, like we've seen Nina do bars for years. She is an Olympic champion. I just can't get over how she does the Derwell Fenton into her Yasova directly into a Shaposh skill to high, directly into her freaking Bahardwaj. The Bahardwaj is so. I might be getting the order of these wrong, but there's so. I mean, there isn't a kip until like 7 skills into her routine. Her Bahardwaj is so straight. It's almost like she does a release in between the bars that is a pirouette in vertical and then arches and catches the low bar. Like it's just amazing to see. I know I've said this so many times, but the way the Bahardwaj has advanced from a essentially Yajova full, a horizontal twisting, funky, cool, almost parkour skateboarding looking skill to actually just moving through the vertical plane is nuts. It's so beautiful. And she does it so fast that you almost don't realize it's a Bahardwaj because it's so clean. It's like one of those things where every time you think someone's really good at that, and then and this is why differentiation in scores is so incredibly important because you can see a Bahardwaj and be like, oh, that was good. And then you see a Bahardwaj done like that, and you're like, oh, this is why all the other Bahardwajas should be getting a deduction because it can be done absolutely perfectly. Yeah.
It is one of those skills that I think we don't see that many people do it, but nearly everyone who has it in their routine right now, at least at a top level, is doing it really well.
Yep.
It's one of those things that's like, it feels like it's actually maybe appropriately valued, maybe it's a little low, but it's like, you want skills to be, it only should make sense to do it if you can do it pristinely and otherwise get it out of the routine. And it feels like most people doing it are really good at it.
Yep.
And that's not true for every skill.
It sure isn't.
Because everyone has to do some tripashas, and there are a wide variety.
It used to be one of those things that someone was throwing in for like the D is so high, my E doesn't matter. But now
it evolved from Mohini being like, let me chuck something weird and see what happens, basically.
Yeah, I'm gonna get this named after myself.
It's called innovation. Right. That's what you have to do.
This is why
how
innovation.
You get people saying your name every single time there's a meet. for the rest of time.
That's what we like to see. And then of course we have Ana Barbosu, floor medal, floor
Or
gold,
gold. Yes.
gold. And again, with just like clean hitting her leaps where they're supposed to be hit. Yeah, oh my God, she's gonna score so well in college. She's going to, because she's so clean. She's so incredibly clean. I'm so excited for the upcoming Stanford years. The other thing I have to say about Ana
Fingers crossed.
Barbosu, yes, like, but I just loved every interview. She talked about, this is my team, this is the people around me, this is my coaches, this is my teammates who helped me get here. Like, I have such good people around me, and that was so wonderful to see. And also, like, her teammates, really like cheering and being excited for her. Not all of them, but just really supporting her was so wonderful to see. It's just like such like selfless gratitude for others. That doesn't mean there's anything wrong with being like, I did this, I deserve it. I support both of those attitudes.
Yeah.
But this is what we've been talking to people for so many years about, like, how kind and lovely she is and just fun she is to interview. And I think that was really on display here. Mixed team event.
Okay.
Let's
Now
start
we
with
can get into it.
the
Dive
most
in.
important thing that
Enough of
happened.
this positivity. I feel like we've been too positive this whole episode. I feel itchy. It's making me feel strange. So we need to also have some criticisms of this mixed team competition. But you may start with, whatever it is you need to do.
The best thing that happened was we got to see paired gymnasts that normally probably never see each other, really, until they compete together, and that involved comedy. And I would like you to introduce you to this moment between our Turkish pair, who first went to high five. There was a half hug. It was so high five, hug, side smooch. What are we doing?
Some lack of communication as to whether we were high fiving or hugging. Yeah, we've all been there.
So fabulous. I love this. We live for these moments. And I also love that not only did it happen, but then European Championships, because they know what the Gymternet wants. Their media team did such a great job. I'm very impressed with how they did, because they didn't just show the good things that happened. They also showed the funny stuff. And this was one of the funny things that they highlighted, which they were like, who did their intro the best? And I was dying that they put that in there. So yeah, some teams were very perfectly choreographed, Netherlands. So it was really nice to see the comedy. Also, let's talk about the winner.
Yes. Germany.
So
Germany took
Germany won.
gold. Great Britain silver. Italy bronze. I feel like the controversy was that Italy had the best cumulative score. So if you were just, everyone doing their events that are in the mixed team and then scored it, Italy would have been in gold. But the strategy of where you put the events and when you competed them got Italy. Germany won on the strategy, which is very stereotypical. But, oh, the Germans planned it correctly.
Thought it through.
We love a cultural stereotype when it's fine, and I feel like this one's fine.
Only one team withdrew.
Yeah, that beat our expectations, because that was one of our questions about the mixed team, is whether, is everyone just going to be like, this is stupid? Why do we have to do this? I want to rest and pretend I have an injury that I suddenly came back from in time for the event finals, and it's fine. Like, our team's going to not want to do this extra thing. And so only one withdrawal. Romania had qualified in 15th place out of the 16. They withdrew with Ana Barbosu qualifying. I feel like it went a solid decision for her, because she went on to win 4 individual medals. But also a unique situation. There was some discussion about, should other teams have withdrawn to rest up for individual finals. For Romania, it was probably not realistic that they were going to win a medal, because they didn't have the men's scores. Ana Barbosu was right up there with the top women for the 3 events, but they didn't have the men's score. So I think that strategically factors into it and probably made sense for her to be like, why would I exert myself when there's not really a chance at a medal when I have all of these medal opportunities coming up? Whereas someone like Manila Esposito, who did a lot of gymnastics this whole week, very realistic medal opportunity paired with Lorenzo Casali. So yeah, I think it was a different situation and it kind of made strategic sense, but also looking forward, gymnastics is gonna have to think about that. It's not, there are some gymnasts for whom this is not going to be a priority and there are going to be withdrawals, and that's always kind of, it sends a signal that maybe this isn't the most important one, the most valued one, and that's not great. Like, oh, we are going into this final, medals are on the line, and like half the people withdrew. It's like, oh, they don't think it's that big of a deal. But I also think, there's going to be an Olympic medal to be won in this event, so it's worth it to prioritize for people who maybe are like, this is my best shot. If you're like a Ruby Evans, where you're like, this is my best shot at a medal, and she got a silver medal from the mixed team, that's something you would want to prioritize. Karina Schoenmeier got a gold medal from this.
We have a very special sponsor for this episode.
I want to make this Father's Day extra special for my dad. That's why I'm giving him a unique and heartfelt gift that will truly make him feel loved. It's called StoryWorth Memoirs.
Each week, StoryWorth emails your dad or loved one or father figure a memory-provoking question that you help pick. This is my favorite thing about using StoryWorth. The questions are like, did you ever get in trouble at school? Or what were your favorite toys as a child? They don't even have to answer this like via email. They can just record it and StoryWorth will transcribe it for them, which is really helpful if you have people in the family who are old enough that they're like typing, looking at a screen. No. What would you have done this if StoryWorth had been around?
Yeah, I think about this a lot if StoryWorth had been around, like when my grandpa was still alive. There's a whole package that we have of these signed photographs from like the biggest movie stars of the 40s that he has, of just like signed to him, that were sent to him as a care package when he was at Harvard. And it's like Ginger Rogers and Carmen Miranda and all these like, hey, Harry, great luck at Harvard. And it's the kind of thing I would love to know the story behind. How did this happen? What did other people think of what this, like when you got this and you're suddenly like at school and you're like, look who I'm friends with, it's Ginger Rogers who sent me this photo. Like, I would love to know all of the details behind it. It's one of those things where no one's still alive who knows that story, who could tell it. And it's one of those regrets you have, that if you had StoryWorth, you would have had that memory preserved and you would know that story instead of always wondering.
I love that this emails you the answers that your family gives as the progress goes on with recording their story. So you don't have to wait till you get the final book, which is beautiful, and you pick photos for it. And it's like this beautiful, hardcover keepsake book. This is what you get, and you can give it to whoever you want or whoever your family member wants to have it. Like my mom's using this and she's like, treating it like a memoir. She's like, should I tell this story? I was like, Mom, you don't have to tell your deepest, darkest secrets in this book.
Yes, you do.
But she is like, this is the written legacy that's going to be passed on. And so she's taking it really seriously. And like, she loves this gift. So if you guys would like to check it out, we have a deal for you.
Give the dads in your life a unique, heartfelt gift you'll all cherish for years, StoryWorth. Right now, save $15 during their Father's Day sale when you go to storyworth.com/gymcastic. That's storyworth.com/gymcastic to save $15 on your order.
Also, I love that you just casually dropped that your grandfather went to Harvard.
Oh, I'm sorry. You can cut that out if it seems too name droppy.
Absolutely not. More about that on behind the scenes this week. Remind everyone of the rules again. So it is the way that it works. If we can see the overlay chart again, the flow chart of how this works. So it's 16 teams out of qualifications, but it's the federation chooses the pairs.
No, the federation does not choose the pairs.
They don't choose the pairs.
You
Okay.
qualify based on your scores on the 3 events. So the 3 events are vault, beam, and floor for women, floor, P-bars, and high bar for men, which is one of the issues with this format. It feels kind of arbitrary. It's based on what they can fit in the arena, but we have some things about that. Based on those scores, top 16 teams from qualification advance to the mixed team event. They do round 1, where you select an event, any of the eligible events, you get your scores, You combine the MAG gymnast and the WAG gymnast. Top 8 teams advance to the next round. The bottom 8 teams are eliminated. Then in the second round, the 8 teams go. They do it again. You can't repeat the same event from the first round. You pick a second event. Everyone competes on that. Top 4 teams advance. The top 2 to the gold medal final. Third and fourth teams to the bronze medal final. 5th through 8 teams are eliminated. And then you compete on your third event, the one you haven't done yet. Everyone in the final rounds, first and second head to head to see who wins gold and silver. Third and fourth head to head to see who wins bronze and who is fourth and gets nothing.
We're explaining this to the gymnastics fans, even though this is, if you've ever done any sport that competes as teams, this is like a totally normal format. Like I instantly was like, oh yeah, this is how you wrestle off. Like you're either wrestling for bronze or you're wrestling for gold.
Mhm.
And so the thing that I think I really liked about this is I like that it had that format. You have to beat the other teams, that you're competing to beat the other teams. You're not competing for your own scores. You have to beat. You can't just go in and be like, we are going to do our gymnastics, because none of your
Mhm.
other scores count. You have to beat the team you're up against every single round in that round. And so let's talk about how we would run this if we
Yeah,
ran it,
well,
because
first of all, I think on that note, maybe the best thing about the mixed team is that it gets rid of the gymnastics trope of like, we just have to stay in our bubble, we just have to focus on ourselves, all of that, because you kind of have to be a little bit more aware of like, which of my event scores compare to what other teams are going to put up. Like, do I need to start with vault because vault has the fewest execution deductions, and that's going to get us into the top 8? You kind of have to be aware of what everyone else is doing and their strengths and weaknesses, and that's really nice. So that, you can't just be like, well, it doesn't matter who we're competing against because I'm literally not watching their routines and don't know their names. You kind of have to be at least the coaches have to be a little bit more aware and tell
yeah, I
people
mean,
what
that's
to
the
do.
thing, because I was thinking about that like gold medal round, and I'm like, oh, well, if Jake had vaulted in the last round,
The
they,
men couldn't vault.
right. Which is the other problem with this. Why can't
Mhm.
men vault if the women are vaulting? It's so dumb. Just raise the stupid thing. Both apparatuses are there. But yeah. So anyway,
Okay.
that brings me to the strategy. You can't
Yeah.
blow it in the beginning. You can't. I feel like if you,
Unless that's like what you do. Like Norway's team did very well here and they advanced to the top 8, and that was, that's a big deal for Norway. They beat teams like the Netherlands. That's huge for Norway to beat those more storied programs, because they were like, we're probably not going to medal, but let's blow our best scores in the first round so we can get into
yes,
the top 8, and then we'll see what happens. And actually Keisha Lockhart then went to beam in the second round and did an amazing beam routine, the best I've ever seen from her. But then Skokvang fell, so they didn't get a high team score and didn't advance. But if you're Norway, that's a really good strategy because that's how you make it to the next round.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And I love that strategy, because we did see that, like, some of the teams use their very best routine first up, and they knew, okay, that's it. I'm not going to make it further, but we advanced to the
Yeah.
second round, and that's huge. And now we have a world record we have a country record for us. This is the
Hmm.
highest Norway's ever placed. We're 8th and, mixed, whatever. And then, you can work from there. But this is my biggest problem with how they did the rounds, is this is supposed to be a team competing together.
Hmm.
And they didn't do it like that. They had 2 women and then 2 men. Like, what the fuck? They're
In the
supposed to be a
first
team. It
round.
should have been, yeah, it should have been, the woman and man compete together back to back, right? One after the other. And it doesn't have to be they're both on floor, because you get to pick the event. But it should have been, okay, if she's competing on vault, then you're competing on P bars back to back as a team. Now you have a team score. Now the next team goes, and they know exactly what they have to go to get the
Mhm.
man and woman to beat that team. And that's what was totally missing to make this more exciting, even though I really like this. But that was the biggest thing that I was like, the fuck is this?
They were able to do that more in the second and final rounds when there
Yeah.
were fewer teams, and then we kind of had them both sitting together to get their scores, and that worked better. I think they didn't do that in the first round. I think because there were too many teams, and I worry that the meet was already really long.
It was 3
It was
hours, you guys. It
it
was way too long.
dragged, and I feel like if you did the first round like that, it would have been even longer. but I think you need to make it more efficient. But I agree, you want that team environment where like the teammate is actually watching the other teammate's routine and cheering them on and working
Yes.
together, rather than we had sometimes in the first round where the two team members were on different apparatuses at the same time and couldn't even watch each other. And then it feels very much like you just have some random people standing here doing random gymnastics randomly. Like it's not related to each other. That doesn't really work from a viewership standpoint, because then it's just like, all right, a bunch of gymnasts are here doing a couple of the events. Like, what is this? What are we doing? So that's when it's at its weakest, I think.
Yep. And I mean, there's no reason they can't go like that. And it would make it more exciting when you have the person lands, they salute, and they can even like point like they're tagging the next person and they salute and go. And then you can have both their replays after their routines are done while we wait for the next person. Because on TV, it went pretty smoothly, but even on TV there was some lag time.
Mhm.
And I thought it was interesting that they did, if we can look at that flow chart again, they did designate that there's only 40 minutes for the second and the first and second round. And I was like, 40 minutes too long, way too long. These need to be
They
15
went
minutes.
over that, I think, too.
Yeah, they went way over because it was 3 hours. So
Yeah.
yeah, they've gotta fix that. So that's the first thing. They need to compete as teams, but it needs to go right away. Like the first person lands, then the teammate goes, replay TV,
There was too
then
much
go to the next.
waiting for scores before the next person went, I think
Yeah.
especially toward the end. You needed to have more, like, the point of running, I think it works also when you run event finals to have multiple events going simultaneously, and never two people competing at the same time during event finals, but you have one routine being like the women's vault is being scored while men's pommel horse is going on, and then men's pommel horse is scored while women's vault is going on. You can kind of have that, and I want that in event finals, but I also want that in the mixed team competition, so you have kind of, there's always something for the crowd and the viewing audience to be looking at routine wise, and you use that so that there aren't just like everyone standing around waiting for a score, which
Yep.
drags.
Yep, exactly. And this is how we can have that moment where when they compete back to back as one team, two different events, man, woman, but then after then they get their combined scores because the combined score is what counts for beating the next team. So
Mhm.
just looking at the individual scores, obviously it's important, like D and E, but it's what gives you a moment to have a replay of both the teams' routines because the way they did this on TV, which again, I love this and I love that they did it. We just want to make it perfect. So they did it like an individual event. Like it wasn't any different than an individual event finals or an all around final, but then there were men too. So I
Because men don't have an all around final, but also there were men there, which is weird.
they didn't do it as a team and you need to show them as a team. So yeah, that
Mhm.
and that's where that replay moment. And the other thing that I really want, speaking of the replay moments, the team goes two different events, man, woman,
Mhm.
and then you show their cumulative score. You can show the replays of them while we're waiting for some kind of animation that
Of
shows
course you want an animation.
the animation on the big screen is the most important thing. So you have whoever they have to beat, the highest score so far, and then you have their, animated vial filling up with gym rubles to see if their combined score beats that other team or not and have their reaction. So, and the reactions were some of the best things that we got. So, that excitement creating is what I think could use.
At the very least, you need a live score graphic for this one. It really could use even more so than other events like an SEC network score tower. So that kind of thing. So you can really see like this person needs to score this score to pass this team. Which I think you always want in all gymnastics, but
Yeah.
especially in the mixed team event. So you really have a sense of, okay, there are 8 teams in this round and only the top 4 advance. And where does this team stand and what score they need, I think would help. Also, the events are wrong, and we need to talk about that.
Yeah. Wait, I want to say one more thing about
Apparatus.
scoring. I was very happy to see that they were able to actually give us an output in the results that had the mixed team combined scores but showed us the full scores and then the total for men's and women's on the same piece of paper right next to each other. It's almost like you can do what you want when you are creating results pages and you don't have to be stuck in the past. Like some things we have here in the US that even though they've been around for 10 years, we still don't get second scores for vaults. So yeah, I am
It
very
shows our
happy.
low expectations for gymnastics. Like, can you believe they showed the results of the competition in a place?
Right. This is how yeah, anyway. But yeah, I totally agree with you about the score tower is yeah.
Or something like that, where you see like all the names of the countries on the side of the screen, and then they're moving, and like, oh, Switzerland just moved up 4 spots, and now they're in the top group, and they're in the advancing position. But what's Great Britain gonna score? And you kind of have that to follow. I think would be visually entertaining and
Yeah.
a nice visual. But
Get
can I talk
Verdius
about the
or
events now?
Elevian on it. Yeah. Let's discuss the events because they are wrong.
They're wrong, and we need to talk about it. So it's already, I think, the weakest thing with the mixed team is that you're not competing all the events, and you're only eligible to compete some, and they feel arbitrary. And it sounds like it's based on what they can fit in the arena, but they're wrong because the women are doing 3 leg events. They're on vault, beam, and floor, and no bars. The
Yep.
men have 2 bars events and 1 leg event. They're doing floor, and then they're doing P bars and high bar. That is off balance and wrong and not the most interesting. Like, I think if you're gonna have 3 women's events, they should be bars, beam, and floor.
Mhm.
And then I think the men should be doing vault, floor, and high bar.
Mhm. I
So you're
agree.
swapping out, men don't do P bars, they do vault instead. And women do uneven bars instead of vault. I think that's the most interesting. And then logistically, you would only have to take the P bars podium chunk and put uneven bars there instead, which uneven bars takes more room than P bars because P bars is kind of close to the bars. But I think that's feasibly doable in a small
Yeah.
arena.
You can set up the freaking podium. You can
Yeah, you
move
could.
podium, make them the shape you want them.
Yeah,
Like these are not
but
impossible things.
do you have enough room in the arena you've chosen? I think is the issue. Like in
Yes.
college, Utah's arena cannot hold a podium meet.
Yeah.
It's not big enough. It's barely big enough to hold a regular meet. That vault, you would know how I feel about that vault. They're landed too close to that wall. I don't
Me
like
too.
it. It scares me. But yeah, so there's some arenas that can't hold it. Some arenas can. But you need a bigger space. But I feel like that's doable even in kind of a smaller space. Um, but yeah, so that's I think my main issue is just the events and why are we doing only some of them, and it that makes it feel like a fate competition.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest issue with it.
Um, okay, so if we had high bar and bars on one side, they both use so we just have to add because they're both gonna use vault, they're both gonna use floor, high bar bars. So we just need a
Well,
place
theoretically,
for
beam.
beam. Yeah. I mean that actually I feel like that's doable. You could
Mhm.
also just turn like bars and high bars sideways, which is not good for the viewers, but at least then the people on the sides of the arena finally get a side view, and the
Yeah,
beam could be side view
the way
too.
they do the arena right now, high bar and uneven bars occupy the same podium chunk, but you don't have to. Like, there's
Yeah,
nothing that says they have to.
yeah, they can be yeah, they can move around and set up different configurations of the podium. Um, yeah, I didn't think about the all leg events. What? Okay, this is my
We're
question.
such
What was?
dorks. Like, I love that we both could talk about this for
Oh, I'm
forever. Like,
so
okay,
not
yeah, you
done.
would set up the arena like this, and then you'd have this event, and you do this here, and this is logistically how you would. And these are the scores, and this is the spreadsheet. God, we're the worst.
Um, I um But I feel like this is I mean, overall, I absolutely love this. I was so happy about seeing this, and I love the interactions between the women's and men's. And for me, this is how can we elevate women's gymnastics in the countries where it's not at the level of the men's? And I also think how this is also great for the countries like the US. How can we elevate the men's to the level that the women's are and give them the same amount of attention? And it's so fun to see live. I always say, if you want to understand men's gymnastics, go see it live because the insanity does not translate. Just like seeing Simone Biles in person will change your life. Um,
Yeah,
but
Jake Jarman made commented on that. He was like, "Wouldn't it be great if the amount of enthusiasm and fans that we got for the mixed team event were there for all the men's events?"
yeah, And this is the key. I mean, imagine if there's so many countries have had like one incredible woman, and always like they have like a team, but there isn't the depth, you know?
Mhm.
And what if we had those whole teams of those, and the depth was increased and the audience was increased, both in this is the international world peace, gender equity that I've always wanted in gymnastics. So it makes me very, very happy. And I also love that you can't change out who makes it, because the
I
US
mean,
would
you could.
immediately be like, but yeah, you could. Well, there's that. They could be like,
You can.
well, we'll see
If
if
you
anyone.
could, I mean, it's the same as qualifying to any other final, where the athletes who got the scores, but if you have someone who is per country out of the final, you can Galieva anyone you want, and you can do that in the mixed
Yeah.
competition as well.
Club Gym Nerd. Get discounts and first dibs on live show tickets, and extra podcasts every week, athlete dossiers, code guides, commission your own segments of the show. It also makes a great gift. Check it out at gymcastic.com at the Join the Club tab.
What was the next day of competition after this? I'm trying to remember. I can't
Then
remember
we
the
went
order.
to all around. So they did all the team stuff. Men's and
Okay.
women's all around were the same day, because you can change out apparatuses in a single day.
So this is the thing. I can see some people saying it's not good to have all leg events for the women, especially 3, like it
Mhm.
was. Like a lot of gyms and coaches don't have leg days like this back to back, because, and I mean, yes, you have to train this, because if you're training for event finals, you have to train back to back days. But
Mhm.
that is another case to your point of not having 3 leg events for women. Um, and especially because, we have to remember, like, you can't not land when you're at these meets unless you have some
They're not. You're
insane.
saying they're not pits in the training halls.
Yeah, there's no pits, there's no resi, there's no, you can't practice your skills without a hard landing, unless you have, and you can't bring all the coaches you need to just catch you in the middle of the air, which some coaches do. But yeah, like did I tell you about that meet I went to where there's a gym that had like 4 people spotting vault.
Mm.
So basically they just grab people in the air and put them on the ground, like no one was. But then Utah does, or Oklahoma does that. They just 4 people
Yeah.
hold a mat in the
Hold
air and
hold
they
the
land
mat
on
up.
that.
Yeah.
But it's scarier to do that when it's like a beam dismount, or it's not
Hold the
possible.
beam in the air. What could go wrong?
Yeah. Okay, I just want to go back before we have more to talk about this, because this is basically
Obviously,
the theme of the entire episode. But
we are going to be doing this until LA 2028. Get ready.
I'm so excited about this. But okay, the dramatic graphic. What should it be for mixed pairs? Because they've already used the Hogwarts filling the vials of which team has the gym rubles, but could it be like lightning, or should it be some kind of like equality signs for men's and women's
Okay, so
filling up
here's
the
what I think.
vials?
Because you have a MAG score and a WAG score, and you're adding them together to get the total. So I think the MAG and the WAG score are the bottom halves parts of a rainbow. They're the bases, and then they meet in the rainbow meets in the center, which is their cumulative score with a little firework or something.
Oh, I'd like a firework.
I thought you
That's
might.
There's always be sparkles or
There's a
fireworks.
rainbow firework sparkle comes out, and then that's the team score, and then you see their rainbow like slot in to compare to the other countries.
I love this.
And you see like the beams of the rainbow start to come up as the score is getting ready, and then they start to meet, and you watch them because you need a status bar, as tech companies have learned. Like, people love watching a status bar.
Yep.
Like, oh, you're at 70%, you're at 71%, 72%. People love watching it. So you get your score status bar, and then
That's right.
it's loaded and you get your score.
And you need a sound effect, because this is how you fill everyone's emotional chalk bucket, also known as, what is the gratification we get from all the apps and the boops? It's our oxytocin, our something gets refilled. So our dopamine. Thank you so much. Fact checker on the job, translating. And when it needs to be shorter, gymnastics meets should never be longer than 2 hours. 1.5 hours is the ideal. Just as a rule, these are the facts.
What do you think about Italy being third, even though they had the best cumulative score?
Okay, this is the biggest thing I wanted to talk about because I'm worried that everyone's going to
We
complain
haven't
about
gotten
this.
to the biggest thing yet?
No, this is the biggest
Okay.
thing because I'm like, oh, people are going to be like, well, it's not fair because we were the best overall team. That's not the competition. The competition is not an all-around. It's not an all-around team score. That's not what this meet is, and that's what makes it so exciting, and that's what makes it different. That's the whole point. It is a head-to-head match. It is a bracket. You have to beat the other team. That is the strategy. So anytime I hear that complaint, I understand because it's very hard for gymnastics fans to get their heads around this kind of format.
It's
But
not.
this
It's
is
very ungymnastic.
it's so on gymnastics. And I'm just like, that's not the competition. That's not the competition. That's like, we acknowledge that Suni beat Simone Biles at, what was it? Championships or trials the second day. We acknowledge that happened, but she didn't win the meet. That's not the format. But she did beat her, and then she ended up beating her at the Olympics. But so you keep it in there as a star. It's a little asterisk next to what happened, but that's not the competition. So there is no argument to be made because that is not the competition. Italy should have strategized better, and competed they should have switched the events they were competing, and that would have helped them in the end. So yeah, that's the thing. At last minute, you might have to change. I mean, you don't have a choice. At the last event, you can only do 3 events. So you're stuck with whatever you
stuck
decided.
with your last event. So you have to plan it in advance.
Yeah. Or
As
second
opposed to
round.
planning it afterward, which is not a thing you could do.
Or
I just
second
did one of my pet
round.
peeves, plan in advance. So I had to make
Second
fun of
round,
myself.
you could change it up. Second round, you could be like, oh, you know what? We're going to change our strategy. The important thing is, though, that they allow that in the competition. You should be allowed to change.
Because you have to submit your events.
Right. So you should be allowed to change based on the second round and the third, and whatever third round you make it, bronze or the gold medal match. I'm just going to use wrestling terms. That is, you should be able to change, because then it really brings strategy in, because you can see what happened to be like, oh no, we have to beat them here. So we're going to switch to this, or we just messed up. So-and-so is going to switch and he's going to go do high bar now, which he's not allowed to do, but he's going to do floor instead of P-bars or whatever. That would make it really exciting. And gymnastics hates things being done after the 24-hour deadline.
Yeah.
But
if you can't publish a start list,
then but that would make it super exciting. And clearly their scoring system is very agile and can adapt to this. It's almost like computers are fast and quick now, and people are good at these things. Let's read some feedback. We asked for feedback on behind the scenes on Friday, and let's start with Euro strategy from Ethan.
All right, Ethan says, this is my first time writing in, but I've been listening to the pod since 2020 when I became a gymnastics fan as a COVID distraction. I've grown to love the sport so much and even have a mega Excel sheet where I track the highest scores of the season with both D and E scores, of course, across all apparatuses and teams. I'm a math nerd, what can I say? Excellent. One thing that I have always appreciated about MAG athletes is their attitude towards gymnastics as a sport. We often see MAGs talk about changing their routines and D scores for certain competitions, such as Steven Nedorosik opting for his easier routine in the team final and then going for his harder in the event final. But I often find WAG gymnasts, especially Americans, never used to act in this way. It kind of always seemed like what they could do is what they would do, and that's that. But this Euro seems to indicate that WAG gymnasts are being more strategic about their routines. The mixed team pair is already adding strategy to the sport, but also in the event finals, we saw Alba Petisco upgrade to a full twisting double layout to claim the bronze on floor, and Morgana Osisek upgrade to a beautiful layout full on beam. I wonder if this is an indicator that gymnasts have more agency over their own autonomy and aren't being forced to chuck difficult skills consistently over multiple days of competition. D-score tracking is one of the most fun things about the sport for me, so I love that being strategic is becoming the norm in gymnastics, as it makes it more interesting for everyone involved. Love the pod, and thanks for all you've done to grow the sport.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's interesting. We didn't really see a lot of gymnasts talk about changing their routines, even though Nadia actually said that she did this. She had like 5 different versions of her routines in her head, but maybe no one thought to ask it because everyone's so freaking sexist when she was competing. But yeah, there are.
That's over now.
There are a
Everyone
lot.
was so freaking sexist.
We
Sexism's
fixed
over.
it. Yeah, we're not going backwards at all in the United States, especially. But there are a lot of gymnasts who have multiple versions to switch and make up. But we've talked about this before because there's some gymnasts men and women who can switch their routines in the middle, and some who can't. They have to do the same thing, and they can't. If they have to calculate what they missed and add something in the moment, it messes them all up. And some can totally switch and have many variations in their head and know exactly what they need to add. Like home slice, gold medal, Rio beam,
Sana.
Sana.
Sana waivers.
Yeah,
That
always
could have
had
been a lot of home slices because Suni's the same way with her bars composition.
Yes.
You know. But I would say I think that is a necessary skill that should be developed in gymnasts the way you learn any other skill is the ability to have, you don't have to think of it on the fly necessarily, but have backups and have other options in mind for your routine, things you can do throughout a competition. You can downgrade, you can upgrade, you can change things out and in, you can make a decision on the fly in the middle of your routine. Oh, I didn't get that combination, I'm going to do something else. I think that's a necessary skill. And I think sometimes I recognize and agree with Ethan's point that in women's, we haven't seen that as much in the past. And I think it's from a place of condescension that they can't mentally handle the idea of this. Like, I've had coaches say that before, like, oh, my gymnast could not handle having multiple routines. It's like, well, you should teach them how to do that from a young age. They should learn how to do that. And I think they are more capable of doing that. And sort of the overbearing history of women's gymnastics coaching has kind of thought little of the athletes as mental individuals and as people, and that they are actually able to handle more of that. And I think we're seeing, to Ethan's point, seeing that more, that there's like, oh yeah, you can handle that, you can do that.
And like to your point, like when I coached both, I coached like rec op and high school, and so we would literally, I made them a worksheet, and it was, here's how to put your routine together, here's what you have to have, and then we had several days where it was also like fun days, where we'd have the coda points out, they'd have their worksheets, and they would help each other put together their skills, because the thing is, like, when you're first like coaching people,
That would be the
especially
most
high
fun day
school,
to me. I would be like, yes,
it was,
put
I
together
loved
routines.
it. Yeah, it was so fun too, because you had like the level 10s were helping the people that this was their first time ever doing gymnastics. And they would look at a skill and be like, I think I can do that. And then someone else would show them and help them do it. This is one of the things I loved about coaching high school gymnastics, my second favorite job after doing GymCastic. But yeah, like it was a worksheet. You know what skills look easy to you. Like I haven't had you try every single skill in the code. Like what looks easy? Because sometimes you look at something, I can do that. And so that's how they would put it together. So they knew from the start what their requirements are because they constructed it. Then we would go over it and make sure they had things and all that. But yeah, it was so fun to do that. So yeah, if you guys are coaches or gymnasts who you were coached this way or you coached this way, we love to hear about it. Gymcastic@gmail.com. Put which they put multiple event multiple routine training or something in the subject line, and I would love to hear about how you guys did it. Mixed format is bananas.
A fan from Canada says, I find the proposed format of the mixed team event for LA to be legit bananas, and I'm not into it. I am surprised anyone is signing off on a team medal that doesn't even include all the apparatuses. It is inherently punitive to any country whose best athletes excel on the apparatuses that are excluded. I get the argument that all the equipment cannot be set up at the same time, but surely there is a way around this. Am I dreaming, or did the American Cup not used to have a simultaneous women's and men's event happening at the same time? Was this NBC playing timing tricks on me? No, it was not. It was not.
Yeah,
timing
no.
tricks.
It is totally possible if the arena can fit the apparatus. And the other thing is, like, I mean, we say that, and then we have been in arenas where the apparatus were fit in a way that was very scary. Like people would be dismounting. Remember, or was this in Kitakyushu? People were dismounting P bars, and like if they rolled out, they would end up rolling onto the vault runway, the end of the vault runway, because P bars was behind the vault runway. And
Mhm.
like that's okay. You just look before you, stand and go, make sure no one's gonna do a dismount and, roll into you. But it can be done in a safe way if there's room, and I think that is much more fair. And that arena is really big in where they're having it in LA.
The crypto.com arena.
Yeah. It's also there are different considerations though for the Olympics. Like you have to have so many photographer spots and there's a lot of like media spots and camera spots that and those freaking dudes running around on the floor. Oh, they're changed. Um highlights and cool skills that I want to
Yeah.
talk about. We
Okay.
just had a letter about one of them. The most amazing freaking full on beam by Morgane Osiek from France. It's so good. It is. She does not pike her hips until the lastest moment. It's such a good full. It's Chinese level laid out
Whoa.
full on beam.
Whoa.
Yes.
Yes, it's very nice.
Yeah. Masova on bars, her dismount, her toe on, actually laid out, open hips, Branny. She pikes at the very last second. It is an actually laid out Branny, the way a Branny is supposed to be. It is so nice to see a laid out, because when someone does a laid out dismount like that with just a half turn,
Mhm.
on bars, they look like they're stopping in midair and going so slow, and I love that. The same thing with Osiek's full on beam. Jennifer Williams, Sweden, we talked about her before, but the 6-4D that she got
Mhm.
on beam for that 14.533 in qualification, she was leading. She's just, again, everything you want in a beam routine is like in a different way than Esposito is, but just absolutely stunning beam work. Luke Whitehouse
Mhm.
from the British did his triple back per usual on
Yeah.
floor, which every time it's insane. Every time anyone does a triple back, it's insane. And I know this has been done for 50 years now, but it's still nuts anytime anyone does. Has it been 50 years? When was it done? The 80s? All right, 40 years? Yeah, it's just nuts to see human beings do that. Ming from France, handspring
Mhm.
Rudy, so
Yeah.
clean. There are a lot of good vaults.
Mhm. She missed in the event final, but
Yeah.
normally and in qualification. Yeah.
Fioravanti's Flying Banana Jesus for
I was
Italy.
waiting for you to get there. Your favorite, Emma
My favorite.
Fioravanti, is such a Jessica gymnast.
She totally is. She is. I wanted to tell people about her stuff. So, Flying Banana Jesus, if you're not familiar with this vault, it is a handspring front layout that's actually laid out. And if you do it right, you have a slight arch with your arms to the side. And if you take a photo at any point, you should look like the Ponge, what's his name in Rio, the
Mm.
Christ standing with his
Christ the
arms out
Redeemer
in
statue. Yeah.
yes. And if you love Protonova, Daria Bijak, Grenadal, if you love a front tumbler who can do it with their knees together and toes pointed, Fioravanti is your Italian. She's yes, totally my style of gymnast that I love to see. And her double front on floor, it's if her toes were pointed all the way, because they're pointed, but they're not as pointed. They're not Ivana Hong pointed, but
Well,
they're,
we can't all be Ivana Hong.
I mean, yes, but they are very good. It's very good. And then just something really fun, because we
Mhm.
never see this. Freaking Ruby Evans, our comedy favorite, Ruby Evans from GB, just her ends her floor routine with a jump double full. So
Yeah,
jump,
stretched. Yeah.
stretch jump, 2
Love it.
turns. It's
You know
just
how I love
fun.
a stretch jump.
Yeah. And it's an easy B, I think. Yeah, it's a B.
Mhm.
Yeah, just add a B at the end. So it's easy. I say, as people fall over trying to do that. That was one we worked on a lot when I was coaching
Yeah.
the Excel and high school gymnastics. We were like, let's
Let's try a
practice. This
stretch
is
jump double full. Oh, you've fallen over.
it's it's a B. Let's try to get a B in, however you can. In the everything sucks category, can you give us an update?
Oh yeah, that's my category is the everything sucks category, but that's accurate. Yeah, Helen Kevrich of Germany, her knee injury in the all-around final. So she had been doing very well in qualification. She qualified third in the all-around, was top qualifier on bars, ahead of Nina. And then knee injury on the first event of the all-around final on vault, going for her Yurchenko double full. It was the down moment of the competition for Germany, because there were so many triumphant things about this competition. Hosting European Championships for Germany, I think they exceeded expectations in the medal category. But Helen Kevrich getting injured is a real bummer, because she kind of had her breakout meet, I guess, at the Olympics, when people who weren't necessarily watching her every move were like, oh, she's really good. Next generation of German gymnasts, great on bars. So I think she was poised to have a great season this year in the individual year after the Olympics. So that's the worst. Alicia D'Amato also gets to, like, at least throw a couple vases against the wall for her competition, because in qualification she was certainly a contender for multiple event medals. Qualification fell on bars where she could have medaled /won, fell on beam, but we'll always have, she's the Olympic champion on beam, so you can hug that gold medal close to you at night. But she had one of those days in qualification, like Sabrina Voinea did with her fall on beam, fall on floor, scratch vault.
Yeah.
That was the interesting thing, because if she had vaulted for the score she got last year on vault, Romania would have won team bronze instead of France.
Yeah, I
But
was
she's
wondering
scratch
about
vault.
that. So was it a scratch, or was it the same thing that happened at that Worlds when she
She didn't even attempt to vault. It was a scratch the event. So, but we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah. Opportunities for comedy.
Yeah.
The unfortunate situation I have to tell you about.
The opportunity for comedy is an opportunity for complaints. Is that what that is? Is that what this is? Because I'm on board.
The coquettish giggle sound effect is spreading around the world. I blame Simone. I love Simone, but I also blame Simone for this. It's Simone did it. Leave it with her. It should not be spreading the sound effect with the, I cannot with that. Unless you're making fun of it, like Stanford would do something where they're making fun of this and making it ironic, and then it's okay. I really like the routine that it was being used in specifically, but I hate the giggle. I mean, better than a gunshot sound effect though. So, we take what we can get. The best comedy of this was Ruby Evans and Jake Jarman being our new favorite comedy duo.
Yeah.
Those two are just hilarious, first of all, as individuals, because they're both like young and very like wait, what's happening? Although Jake has really matured. I feel like the attention he's gotten, he has really, really matured over the last couple of years, and he was really like helping Ruby out. Sometimes feel like they're the big seniors now. But the faces Ruby was making during this, especially the mixed team event, hilarious. You knew exactly. I mean, Simone can't compete at Euros, but we have all the faces that Ruby Evans is making. That's all you need to know. Was she excited, disappointing, thinking this is stupid? We should have won if you put all of our scores together. Like, you never had to question how she was feeling. It was freaking great.
Jake Jarman was definitely one of the most entertaining award. My men's highlight of the competition was his first vault in event finals, his CAS 2.5, which was ridiculous, phenomenal.
He stuck it again, just like he did at Worlds. Like, just stuck it cold, and again looked at it, looked like, holy shit, I did it again. Like, what happened? He's
and then
insane.
Him having to like calm himself down was one of my favorites. He was like, okay, but just like breathe. You have to calm down. He was like, do it. You could see exactly what was happening in his head. He was like, okay, that was amazing. Don't think about it, because you have to vault. You have to do your second vault. Just like, calm down. No one say anything. No one look at me. I know it was great. I don't want to think about it. So yeah, that was great.
We also, if we're talking about vaulters, we have to talk about Arthur Dobkin.
who did win gold. It was very close. Jake Jarman had then like a lunge and a steppy hop on his second vault, and Davtian was Davtian with both of his landings.
But yeah, his landings are insane. He's just like, give him a double front vault, he will stick it, make it impossible, and he still sticks it. Like he's so good year after year after year after year. Like the older he gets, the better he is at vaulting. It's just great. How did you feel about the vault bonus?
Oh yeah, because it came into play. We were talking
Mhm.
about whether it was going to be significant, and it was super significant in the women's vault final. So now in women's vault, when you're doing 2 vaults, you get a 2/10 bonus if your vaults have different post flights, or directions. So if you do a forward vault and a backward vault as your 2 vaults, then you get the 0.2 bonus. So Georgieva of Bulgaria had the best vault scores in the final, but she had 2 back post flights. Schoenmeyer had a backward and a forward because she'd hit her Yurchenko double full and a round off half on layout half. So she got the 2/10 bonus, and that elevated her to gold medal when Georgieva had the better 2 vault score and would have won in any previous year. So we were talking about whether it was going to come into play and whether it was going to be significant. I kind of thought it would be rare when we saw it play out because most people were just going to get the 2/10 bonus because they already were doing those vaults, but Georgieva had a Yurchenko and a Suk, so didn't get the bonus and ended up with the silver. So I thought that was significant.
Yep, I agree. There's so many other things we can talk about. So we can talk about them on behind the scenes this week. Noon Pacific every Friday for Club Gym Nerd members, you get a live Q&A, or you can send us questions ahead of time. You can put them in the forum, and you can send them into gymcastic@gmail.com. And we just talk about what's going on in life. And you guys share your stories. You ask us questions. We answer your stories. And until I want to talk about some Gymternet news, but I do have some follow-ups on our mini commission that we had 2 weeks ago. And that is one, when we're talking about the NCAA boycotting states with equal rights. We mentioned the boycott of South Africa, the sports boycott of South Africa because of apartheid in the 70s and 80s. It was not all sports. And very importantly, I forgot to mention this because I remember we covered this in a previous episode. Uncle Tim pointed out that very notably that USGF, which was the previous iteration of USA Gymnastics, allowed gymnasts to compete in South Africa. So it was, and they sent Corinne Wright, as in the first Black all-around champion, who's also the head coach at Fisk, to the South African Games. And John Aarons of USAG said, can you read this quote from Uncle Tim?
Our position is basically that international sport is one of the last best hopes for strengthening international understanding and for effecting positive change. We are not politicians. We are not statesmen. We are sportsmen.
And then in 87, the USGF Athletes Council voted unanimously to suspend all ties with South Africa. And we're like, oh, hell no, we're not sending anybody there. We're not doing that. So that is very important. The TV series that I was telling you about, that's like a mythical university with a gymnastics team, that TV series is called Push. 1998 on ABC, and it features a couple people, I think almost everybody on that show went on to be, a star of some kind. And ABC 1998 Push, and it's on YouTube. So we will put a link to this in the show notes. Okay. Can you break down, I want to do some internet news. Can you break down the moving news for everyone?
Oh, all the college-y,
there's
it's
so
the
much.
off season, so everything's happening news. Okay.
Yes.
Brooke Pearson changes commitment from Clemson to Georgia. Ashley Sullivan changes commitment from Michigan to UCLA. MJ Frazier, who graduated from Cal, transferring to Florida. Sadie Smith transferring from Arkansas to Arizona. Nia Howard transferring from Georgia to Michigan State. That's our transfer. No, Maddie Ulrich transferring from Denver to LSU. Natalie Martin transferring from Maryland to Ohio State. There we go. Okay, those are our college moves until next week when 80,000 more people will also transfer, because this
Yes.
is what we do now. UCLA promoted BJ Doss, is now associate head coach. As I'm ready for Jessica to say every team should have a choreographer as their associate head coach because it needs to be more of a priority. Megan
Correct.
Hott is Denver's new assistant coach, previously at Woga. Josh Nilsson is the new Illinois head coach, was an assistant there. Iowa State hired Jasmine Estrella and Mary Wise as assistant coaches. And okay, that's our college. That's our college.
Mary was the coach of Adeline Kenyon, who
Mm-hmm.
her beautiful gymnastics. So you know what you'll be getting. And also a superstar of the CrossFit, very aware of training methods, also speaks Spanish. So will we be getting some?
Are you writing like a profile for her?
I really
Special skill. You're writing a
I love
resume. Special
Mary.
skills also.
And I'm like, also, maybe we can
Enjoys
get
long
all
walks
the
on the beach. Yeah.
is a really good dog trainer.
Yeah.
Seriously, her dog's got all kinds of tricks. Yeah, so maybe they can get some international gymnasts like they used to have at Iowa State. And not that they used to have a stable of Spanish speakers, and not just Denver. So these are my hopes. We're going to talk about the dumpster fire news, and in dumpster fire news, there is talk of a sexual assault. So if you want to hit the fast forward button for a minute, now's the time. Dumpster fire news. A trial has begun. A man accused of killing University of Wisconsin Whitewater gymnast Kara Welsh appeared in court. A status conference is scheduled for July 15th. If convicted, he faces a mandatory minimum sentence of life in prison. A former English gymnastics coach has been found guilty. Is a Trafford gymnastics coach named Michael Haynes has been found guilty of raping and sexually assaulting 2 girls in the 80s. He was sentenced at Manchester Crown Court after he was found guilty on 9 counts of rape and 11 counts of sexual assault against 2 girls following a 4-week trial. Haynes is 76 and was sentenced to 18 years in prison. This is what we like to see. No statute of limitations on sexual assaults against children or anyone. Everyone should be held accountable. Okay, other news. Happy news. We're getting a baby Barbosa. Jaji Barbosa of Brazil just got married, and she has announced she's pregnant with the cutest thing where she was like checking out leotards, and then boop, here's an ultrasound. The cowboy is now married. Brody Malone got married to his lifelong sweetheart. I think they met in like middle school, and they did a long distance relationship the whole time that he was in college. They're just finally living together in the last like 3 months for the first time ever. He's married, and he did wear his belt buckle. I know that you were wondering if he was going to wear his belt. His belt buckle. I mean, that was it. Olympic trials or something. They got a belt buckle because it was like in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he is an actual cowboy.
Did he wear the Nationals cowboy hat?
He did wear a cowboy hat.
A cowboy, I don't know. He's not going to wear some cheap ass gymnastics cowboy hat. He's got his own, probably. I mean,
yeah, he probably has many. He is like an actual farmer who has was when you throw a rope at animals to stop them. He is a champion of that and can still do it. So, but they were little animals, not the big sized animals. We had a long conversation about this in Boston. I was like, tell me everything. Baby animals, what size were they? How old were you? Did you ride them? He's like, I did not do rodeo riding of baby animals. I was like, okay, just want to clarify. Everyone participates. Guess what's happening at SECs next year? SEC Championships is not going to leave out the 9th place team. Jordan Weaver, good job for speaking out about that. So all the teams will now be at conference championships, 2 sessions in one day, but one will have to have a bye. So there's that. Repair season. Zoe Miller had a second surgery on her shoulder. Coming back, Abby Scanlon will return to Cal for a 5th season. The U.S. Pan Am Championships team was selected. That's June 12th through 15th. So Dulcie Kaler, Jayla Hang, Gabrielle Hardy, Hesley Rivera, Tiana Sumana Sacra, and Alicia Rosa as the traveling alternate. So I'm excited to see. This is the new generation. So USAG will have info up, I hope, about how to watch that June 12th and 15th. And as is their way too early tradition, Japan has their women's worlds team. By the way, they have their men's worlds team too. We talked briefly about this before, but will you let the people know who is on the team?
Sugihara Aiko, Kishirina, Okamura Mana, and Nakamura Haruka are Japan's team. Very good team.
My favorite thing that happened on the socials this week is that Luca van de Kiebus from Belgium, he had his baby up on the podium to celebrate his gold medal with him at the Belgian Championships. I love a baby on the podium. It's so cute. I love this. Or people bring their kids out with them. I think it's adorable. Remember Marta Piancolation when she had Jagna? She always
Mhm.
has Jagna with her. She has 2 kids now, but also RIP to their Maine Coon cat who they had for like 15 years, passed away. But yeah, she had her in the mix zone, and it's just like nice family, chill. Should be cool. Like it calms everything down. It makes everything more like chilled, grounded, down to earth. You can't have them running around on the floor like willy-nilly. But yeah. Okay, so we will see you guys on Friday at noon Pacific, 7 p.m. GMT for behind the scenes, and we can talk about all of your feelings about mixed team finals, how you want it to be, what you think of our thoughts. We can talk about other stuff too, but but mostly
All mixed team all the time.
and Club Gym Nerd members, make sure that you are set up with your emails for what you should be. And you're checking your emails that whatever you registered for Club Gym Nerd with, because you're going to be getting those first dibs for our live show tickets in Chicago on July 18th with an Olympic coach who's also in the Hall of Fame, who also coached in Paris and is also a college coach. So that's your info on that. It's no one will be able to figure out who it is. So we will so look for those tickets coming out very soon. And until then, remember, it's Pride Month. Remember too, my favorite thing about Pride Month is now all the Pride mixes are on all the services. So I started my day with the Pride mix. So take off and gay, split on rights, happy Pride, and thanks for listening. See you on Behind the Scenes. Barbara Moskova, 28.
I'll do this one because it's Barbara Mokoshova, but
I was close.
you were close.
Barbara Mokoshova.
You just inverted one syllable. Yeah. So
And the doctor,
the doctor?
Elsa Hertz.
Elsa Hertz. Dr. Hertz?
Dr. Hertz, 38, 30. I made her so much older. Let's start this part.
2038.
No, let's just keep
I
going.
thought you were telling me when she was going to like finish medical school.
You're